All right, it's been a couple weeks till now. Just had to order the gasket kit for this. This is what you're gonna get in here. I'd suggest just order this ahead of time because you're gonna need it anyways. You got all your main gaskets. And really the only other parts you might run into is maybe a damaged needle getting it out, but probably a float would be your next big one. So all right, sorry about the noise of the heater. As you can see, it is now winter. But yeah, order this ahead of time. I mean, if you want to go all out and get the whole kit, I guess go for it. I don't really think it's necessary for the cost, but definitely get this, and then if you find you need more parts, you can always order later. I'm from Canada, so I ordered from online, Crowley Marine. I thought they had really good diagrams on their stuff and good prices, and it took about 3.5 weeks-ish to get here. And that was just regular shipping. I could have upgraded it, but you know, when everything's so cheap, I'm not going to double the cost for just for faster shipping. So we're going to start getting these suckers back together and put back on.
First snowfall. He's never actually driven a car with snow on it, so he didn't know.
That's crazy.
But there was that whole 16 years leading up to this.
Where he's seen a snow brush.
Where he's watching you use the snow brush.
Yeah, there was that. I don't know what he was watching. Maybe he was looking at his phone the whole time.
Did he ask you where the dustpan was?
Yeah, where's the snow dustpan to put all this snow?
Let's stop piling like snow on top of your son. And, you know, we all have things that maybe we were a little knowledge naive about.
Okay, so here's one for you. So this is going to bring sunshine to your life, because I was in Mexico in February of 2023. And I learned that avocados are a fruit.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. I was like, wait, what? How's that possible?
Yeah,
and then they said, well, it's got a seed. Well, come on.
So then everything with a seed's a fruit?
Well, supposedly, I guess tomatoes, there's fruit because they have seeds.
I mean, there are certain vegetables and there are certain fruits. They're going to be picked last when the fruits and vegetables are playing shinny and phys ed. I mean, like, the vegetables don't pick the yam first, and the fruits certainly wouldn't pick the avocados, at least till the very end.
Probably not, no.
Yeah. Okay, you're sitting there, I want banana, and oh, I pick orange for my team. And then it's like,
I'll take the avocado.
Who's left? I'll take avocado.
Alright, so we're gonna go back ahead and lay this over. Just kinda down like so. And I'm gonna start at the bottom and work my way up. So I decided I'm gonna put the sync arms for the throttle on after, because they need to be adjusted anyways. So but just make sure, like, once they're actually bolted on, I don't think they'll fit in place. So you gotta put the bottom one on the arm and then put the top one kind of in as such. If you forget which one's which, just obviously I'm looking at this one right now. That's the middle one because it's got the gas line plug for both sides. So I'm looking for the one with just the top, and that'll be this one here. So I'm going to put inside the gasket on. So this is just a little bit in the way, so I'll just have to shimmy it a little. There we go. I think probably the trickiest part of this whole thing is just going to be getting this one bolt on here. Kind of a, remember when I was taking them off, they're just a little tight in there to get like a wrench or a socket on. So I'm gonna get it as finger tight, the best that I can. which isn't working very good. I get this bolt started. Always like to do everything by finger first, and then you got a good feel for it not being stripped or anything. So yeah, just getting at the bolts, they're just tight little angles, but they'll fit. If you got, I mean, use the skinniest socket you got. It's your best bet. And everything needs to be snug, but not like, don't crank everything tight. Like, if you strip these bolts, you're gonna turn a little job into a big job. Okay, before I bolt this down though, I know I want that sink arm in there. Okay. Just gonna slide that bolt out now so it's not in my way. Because this is gonna have to come up from underneath. I guess you gotta pull it off, and I can. It is connected in there. Put that back on. And there's just a bit of a arm that's got to pop in on. So you got to kind of put the bottom in and then twist it in, because there's this little knob here. Got to get that arm popped in there and then pop the carb in there, because you don't want to try to flex that arm and pop it on there. You'll end up breaking it. Alright, I'm just gonna set this bolt off to the side. We'll sink them and put those on after. So my plan was to hopefully get this all put back together and running good before all the snow came. But that didn't happen. Yeah. Time for the last curb. It's gonna go on in there. So I'm gonna put the sink arm on there. Get that little knob in down there. There we go, that's in place. And bolts in. So this one, I remember the socket didn't fit good at all on this one. And I don't know why, you know, looking at them all, I think they're all the same. But for whatever reason, I did not really like this one. I can feel I got a little bit of a bite on it though, so be careful that I'm actually on there good enough that I don't strip it. It actually feels like it's on good now. Alright. So those are on. The next thing I need to do is remember how all these fuel lines went. Before I put these on though, I'm gonna give them a little spray out here. I think I did this already, but whatever, we're gonna do it again. A little carb cleaner through there. Let's make sure I could see there's any spot that it was gonna gunk up. It would probably be in the little T there. So my thought is that this is gonna be here. And you know what? I already think I see something I messed up. This is probably gonna be a whole lot easier put on. Probably with the carb separated. Alright, so I'll put a tie on there. And before I did that, I popped the hose on and kind of set it in place and made sure everything lined up with here. Gonna get probably another tie around there and ready for that bottom carb. And I think I want it to come out that way so I can reach it. So that's gonna go on like that. Pop that the rest of the way after. Put that on there. Pull that back into place. Okay. So sink arm is good. Just need to push this fuel line down and on, and then I can feel it sit into place. Get it nice and tight. Okay. Squish that on nice and tight. All these set after, because that's gonna have to get set on that. So we get that bottom fuel line on. So I should be able to reach the tie strap from the back side there. So I would say if I was gonna do this again, I would put this bottom fuel line onto the middle carb and put this tie on first. It'd just be a little bit easier and wouldn't be in the way, but it does work this way as well too. Okay, that was my last fancy green one, so I'm gonna have to put a boring old black one on the bottom. I did consider like putting new fuel hose on, but this thing's always been stored with the cover on, and like these hoses they still feel fine. I know they can wear out on the inside, but I looked in them and kind of poked around and they all looked pretty good. Like they looked in good shape and still nice and pliable. And I mean, new fuel line is cheap, so I could have done it, but I just didn't really think it was necessary. I don't know, maybe you disagree. Maybe you can make a comment on there and give me a hard time about it. Well, let's finish putting fuel lines back in place. So that one's gonna go there. Or is that one gonna go down there? So I'm gonna go back. I took some pictures and stuff, so I'm just gonna jump back and remember where these lines all went. Alright, went back to actually an old video that I had and figured it out pretty darn quick. So the ones that go right to your carbs, they're gonna both be the top ones here. So this is like that fuel primer is what this little one is. So it's gonna be this line here. I'm gonna put this end on first because this end is a plastic end and I'd rather not force that one. That one goes on there. So what this does is this line here comes off your fuel line, and when you push your key in, it opens this up and lets fuel, because like when you press your bulb, the line gets pressurized. But what happens in here is it takes a while to get through your carbs and for the air to suck everything in. So this fuel primer puts fuel directly into your bowl so that it comes into your carb And it's only on the top one on this one, and typically it's not on every carb. So on like a 4-cylinder, it'd probably be the top one too. And it just allows basically direct fuel to go right in, because how your fuel pump works is by the speed of the engine. So to get all that fuel sucked through, you'd be turning your motor over for quite a long time to get that through. So when this lets the gas go right in, it's gonna fire up quicker, and once it's fired up, this fuel pump's really gonna start pulling and get the rest of the fuel through the rest of your lines and through your carburetors to allow it to fire up. So that's what that is. Anyways, I guess while I'm talking I could keep going. So this fuel line's gonna go here, and I got my main fuel line over here, and this comes around the top of this carb here and goes to there. Probably what I'm gonna go back and do after, like I said, I got some actual hose clamps. I just ordered like a multi clamp set, so there's some small ones in there. Because these are accessible, I'm gonna go ahead and put like an actual metal clamp on there, but not a lot of pressure there, so they shouldn't leak. But I'm gonna come back and do that after. So I got everything in, all my fuel lines are hooked back up. I'm gonna leave this piece off for right now, because the next part I want to do is I want to sync all my throttle and everything here, because everything's got to be turning and opening up at the same time. So I'm probably going to come back to that tomorrow. I got to head off to work here, get ready for work here soon, so that'll be probably tomorrow morning's project. Alright, we're going to go ahead and sync these carbs up. So that's basically what your arm should look like. These should be in line, and this will be rolling on there. Those should be closed, so these are all going to be off the top one. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the linkage off so that I can make sure that that is actually all the way closed, so that it's in line with the bottom ones. So to pop the linkage off, it's going to be this bolt right here. It's a 7/16. The reason I'm taking that off is, I'll show you here. Okay, so you just take a screwdriver and pop that up. But if this arm's tight, you'll just have to So yeah, when you go to take your linkage off, if it's tight, you just gotta move the throttle forward a little bit and it usually comes off. So I got my stop there, so I'm gonna back that off. So it's also a 7/16 bolt there, so we're just gonna back that off. Because I want to be able to move this and make sure that this carb is actually all the way closed. Because when I go there, that starts to move just a hair. So I know all the way closes is back just a hair from where I had it set it at the idle that I wanted it to be. Alright, so we're gonna get our sync arm bolts in here. It's gonna be an 8mm head on that. So get that one in, I'm gonna go up and do the other one. So I'm just gonna get it kind of snugged up a little bit. And the first thing I'm gonna do is because obviously we're syncing everything to the top carburetor, so I'm just gonna work my way down. So I'll adjust this middle one first, and then once that's lined up, then we'll do the bottom one. Alright, so I decided to use the ratchet to speed this up a little bit. They're pretty long bolts. It's an 8 mil. So the plan is to get it kind of snugged up. And we're obviously syncing everything to the top carburetor here. So I mean, just at rest, they should both be closed. So I'm just going to move the top one and see how the bottom one moves with it. So there is a little bit of play there. So now I'm going to get my actual nut driver here. Adjust that back a bit, tighten that up. So maybe a little too much there. So what I'm doing I know when that's kind of just sitting there not doing anything. This one it's just, I think, a little bit of the play and the twist in the plastic here. It just has a little bit of a leg to it. Alright, now when I move them, I can tell they're both moving the exact same, so I'm going to snug that up and hopefully it didn't move at all. Bottom one's a little easier to get at. And what I'm doing is I'm syncing this bottom one with the one above it. So you can see when I did the top one, I don't know if you can see both butterflies there, but they're moving perfectly together. I open them up to 90 and they're both at 90 wide open. So that's what you want. I mean, your carbs got to be working together to make it run as efficient as possible. Now I'm just going to kind of do the same to the bottom one here. Yeah. That's money. 90 and 90. Nice. Gonna snug that one up here. So I already know before, like, these two were synced up pretty good. This bottom one had a bit of lag to it. This bottom carb was also the one that seat, that needle of seat was sticking on it. Yeah, these are bang on. As soon as this one moves, this one, let's try them all together here. Oh yeah, it's nice and tight. I like it. So what I'll do is I'll hook my throttle linkage back up. Some coffee. Look at this nice mug my wife got me. It's beautiful. Put it back in neutral, so I know that's not perfectly lined up, so I just gotta go back and adjust my throttle, and I'm just gonna screw that in till these marks come back. And I know that I was just a hair below, like, and when I mean a hair, I literally mean a hair below or back of center of that. That's just where neutral seemed to be on this, so, and that's where, when I set my timing and everything, that's what I set it to. So as long as everything's talking to itself the right way, that's really what matters. Your carbs and ignition need to be working together. So I do have another video with some timing stuff on there, so feel free to check that out if you're interested in that at all. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this back on. So this is probably gonna be a high speed. I'm gonna throw some tunes on. Make sure you got that ground on there. Alright, the next thing we're gonna put back on is these wires for the fuel primer. The two yellows are gonna go to the bottom and the black's gonna go up top. And again, make sure your battery is unplugged for all of this. So because they're both threaded, you'll want that in place so it's nice and snug. Alright, so everything back here should be back in place. I'll come back and get these clamped up. I just ordered some new clamps, so they should be here today or tomorrow. I also got spark plugs, so I'm gonna rip all these ones out and put new ones in. I found it was hard to find, so these ones are what is it, the BUWH. A lot of auto parts stores, or a lot of them, it's this like center fired one. I went online on Amazon, I guess, and I ordered new ones. And you can either get the Quicksilver, like those are kind of the OEMs, what Mercury would use. I ordered a brand called Torch. People I put reviews on those. The thing with the Mercuries is they fire, like it's a, they call it the bright blue spark, I guess. And some cheap plugs like won't quite make that spark, or even like, you know, some aftermarket, you know, ignition packs and stuff are gonna not quite have the spark. So these Torch ones had a good rating on them. People said they gave a nice bright blue spark that these motors need, and that is what they look like. So these were about half the price of the Quicksilvers. Yeah, I'm just, for record, we're just gonna line them all up, and like they look identical, so no immediate concerns. Alright, we got the torque wrench out. These should all be at 20 foot-pounds. It's such a light click at 20. So basically what I do is to finish this bottom one is I grab my crescent wrench, because I know I can't get anything other than a crescent in there. And basically I feel off the top one how tight that is. So pretty snug. These are just going to be little turns at a time. So I'm just basically trying to go by feel for this bottom one here. There we go. Alright, the last thing to put on is this back cover. Just make sure you got your two grounds in place. They will go on top of those. Yeah. I'm just gonna go get all these bolts roughly in place, but I don't think you probably need to watch all of that, because it's literally just putting the bolts back on the holes. Alright, Got all my bolts in place. I think I'm gonna do this one first because the way everything's sagging in this little lip here, I can just barely get my driver on there when it's all the way down. So if I do these other ones up, the bolt's gonna be up too high and I probably won't be able to get it down. All right, so little recap. This piece comes off to the side. You can pull the carbs out all as one, or if you want, you can take the sink arms off and one at a time. I thought it was kind of easy to pull them all off at once. You just take your time and it comes out pretty good. And then you can lay it all out, get a good picture of it, see how it all goes back together. Just remember when you're taking it apart, just do it in steps, take your time. Lots of carb cleaner, blow it all out, give it a good clean. Pre-order the gasket seals. I got mine from, again, Crowley Marine, but maybe you have another auto parts that's got them too, but I like their diagrams and stuff online, and I knew it was definitely for the WMK Carb. Just the pictures were just so obvious, so it's nice when you know for a fact you're getting the right parts. And yeah, just put them back together, sync them up, make sure you got everything back lined up. But yeah, I cleaned out pretty easy. It's all back together. Kind of undecided because it's winter now if I'm gonna pull it out and put the muffs on it and fire it up. It's only like, it's right around freezing, so you know, I'm not concerned about freezing the motor out. My other thing is just like the carbs are all clean and there's not going to be gas sitting in them all winter right now, so why fill them up right now? So I guess if this is the end of the video, then you'll know that it's in storage, and we'll fire it up in the spring and do some probably another maintenance video and check it out then. And or you might see a boat running in the winter. Alright, thanks for watching. Leave some comments. I know it was a little bit of a lengthy video, but I like to show everything step by step because you know, when I'm watching stuff, sometimes I find it a little bit difficult when all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got this piece off. It's like, well, how did you get that? Was there a little trick to it, or you know, what was actually going on there? So thanks for watching. Hopefully that gives you some confidence to do it on your own. I would guess after, you know, if I did it all at once and had all the parts, 2 to 3 hours max. You know, for the first time, if I was to do it again, I'd probably definitely get it under 2 hours. Probably hour and a half would be my guess. And of course I had some other stuff to put back together because I was doing some other work on this. But alright, yeah, thanks for watching. Leave comments, subscribe if you want. Don't have to. I just do these for fun, not to make any money. So yeah, have a good one. Well, the boat's in storage now, and all I can think about is ice fishing. Stay tuned, and in the spring we'll get those carbs set and we'll get that boat running good. Thanks for watching.